Hi everyone! This video was requested by one visual effects guy, and it's a show I never watched, so this is an exciting day for me, and I went ahead and watched all the episodes I could find online. So, Mary Lou Retton is an Olympic gold medalist gymnast who competed in the 1984 Olympics. She recently became a controversial figure when the USA gymnastics sex abuse scandal emerged. A bill known as the Protecting Young Victims from Sexual Abuse and Safe Sport Authorization Act of 2017 was due to be passed, and she did not support it. Years later, she pedaled back on her initial opposition, but the damage was still done. So, essentially, she didn't want to protect children performing in sports from abuse, and that's as much as I'm going to talk about that since this is a puppet-based channel. Anyways, she had a kids show, and it isn't that bad. Of course, it's not the greatest television show ever made. Mary Lou started out her television career hosting a 5-minute workout segment for children in the 1980s, and also acted in small roles and as herself in films such as Scrooged, Baywatch, and Knots Landing. But for the first time, she was the lead character in a television show. The show was called Mary Lou's Flip-Flop Shop.
Flip, flip, flop, today's a brand new day. Flip, flop, let's be on our way. There's lots to do, lots to say, new friends to meet, and games to play. Flip, flop, hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray, with things to discover, new ways to move. We'll learn it together. Mary Lou, Mary Lou, Mary Lou, and you. So come along and join our song. This chase is gonna stop at the one and only, no baloney. Flip, flop shop.
Hi everyone, welcome to the...
Mary Lou's Flip-Flop Shop was first thought of by Mary Lou and her then-husband Shannon Kelly in 1995. The idea was written on a napkin. The two were set on creating the concept into a show and successfully brought it to fruition, filming in their hometown of Houston, Texas, and utilizing primarily locals for their cast and crew. Mary Lou's Flip-Flop Shop was produced by Y&R Productions Limited and KUHT Houston. This was the only show that Y&R produced, as the company was co-founded by Mary Lou Retton herself and a businessman named Bill Edward Young for the sake of creating the show specifically. Mary Lou's Flip-Flop Shop was shown in 2001 on various PBS affiliates, but was off the air within 1 year. In 2008, the program was added to Christian-based network Family Net's Saturday morning children's program block. There were 2 seasons made, Season 1 running 13 episodes, and Season 2 running at least 10 episodes. Thankfully, the Wayback Machine contains episode descriptions for all the first season, and also offers the original press release for the series, which helps with the synopsis of the show. The show's 13 half-hour live-action episodes, designed primarily for preschool and elementary children between the ages of 4 and 7, teach both physical growth and social development skills through lessons brought to life by Mary Lou. The show was led by Mary Lou as the straight man amongst a crew of zany, colorful characters and children. The additional characters are either puppets, full-body mascot costumes, or just very vibrant human characters. In the original pitch deck for the show, they have a small description for each character. Jumpy, who is a monkey. She is Mary Lou's enthusiastic sidekick who is often not too well behaved. Though Jumpy does not verbalize her enthusiasm, her infectious energy conveys the fun in being physically active. Jumpy learns basic skills including patience, respect, and safety. The second non-human character is LZ Bones. Moving at half speed, LZ Bones would rather sleep in his favorite chair than pitch in at the flip-flop shop. While he usually gets dragged against his will into singing and dancing, LZ Bones ends up enjoying and learning from the shop's activities. A human character is Miss Warble. With a tool belt full of imaginative props that can be used for everything from musical instruments to exercise gadgets, Miss Warble sings her way into children's hearts. As the Flip-Flop Shop's custodian, she keeps the shop in tip-top order, serving as an example of how organizational skills can help everything run smoothly. She is portrayed by Lucy Christian. In the vein of Mr. Rogers, there's a delivery man named Mr. Bump. This charming but clumsy individual brings instant laughs with his shock of red hair and too small uniform. Riding his trusty tricycle, the gangly Mr. Bump introduces interesting new items to the flip-flop shop and is always excited about joining in shop activities. Mr. Bump is a mix of Major Bedhead and Mr. McFeely, a comedic relief that makes me feel almost like Phil Hartman came back to life. He is portrayed by Ralph Entholt and is a true highlight of the series. There is also a patient, wise puppet owl named Professor Blinky. Professor Blinky is known for speaking in riddles or dropping hints to help the flip-flop shop children learn new ideas. Though she always knows the right answer, just like every smart teacher, she lets children and Mary Lou exercise their own brain power. Second to last, there is a fruit lady who sings and dances like Carmen Miranda about the fruit on her head. She has a recurring gag during the health segments where LZ Bones goes to eat a piece of fruit from a bowl, and she emerges to sing her theme song.
I actually could go for some blueberries.
I am the lady with the charming hat. I jumped out of the fruit bowl, now imagine that. And when I sing, I make your heart go beat deep back. Whoa, I am the lady with the charming hat.
No, I saw Fruit Lady. Fruit Lady. Oh, Fruit Lady. Are you under there?
To round out the cast is a mouse with the amazing name of Mouse. He is a tiny, stylish white mouse who peeks in every once in a while for a solid one-liner.
There's nothing like modesty, and this is nothing like it.
The show takes place at the titular flip-flop shop, which I initially assumed was like the shoe. But after watching multiple episodes, I realize I think it just means the gymnastic term flip-flop, which is a backwards handspring. However, I'm still not 100% sure what the flip-flop shop does, or what it necessarily sells. Mary Lou does bring up that the mood in the shop has flip-flopped when conflicts arise, but that's about as close as we get to an explanation of what the flip-flop shop could possibly be. A place to learn? A daycare center? I have no idea. Please help me. It seems like it's Mary Lou's residence of some sort, where children, grown-ups, and puppets gather to play games and sing songs. The show features segments about health and art activities. This includes a segment about going to the museum, and a horrifying CGI frame who introduces art sent in by viewers. Also, there is whatever this is to teach kids about politeness and manners.
And now a poem about politeness and manners.
Politeness and manners are things that are good, so only do things that you know that you should, like cleaning your room and washing your toes and brushing your teeth, but don't pick your nose. Try to be honest and don't ever cheat, and do not try to tickle my feet. Yes, ma'am, and no, sir are the words of the day. Someday you'll want to be treated that way. Do all of these things, and I'm sure you will see that being polite is the way it should be. Because politeness and manners are things that are good, so do only things that you know that you should. Please?
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
The episodes, for lack of a better word, flip-flop all over the place. There are usually 3 plots going on at once: a problem with a human child, a problem with a non-human character, and a problem with an adult human character. They all get wrapped up in the end, and all is well, of course. There were 30 original songs written for the show, which was heavily marketed in its original pitch. But are any of these necessarily good songs? Well, I watched 6 episodes and I can't remember a single one. Not even the theme song is currently in my brain. But I don't remember them being bad. Just not incredible material. Anyways, after everything is resolved, a song reprise of an earlier song will be sung, and Mary Lou finally gives a debrief on what happened and what was learned. This is usually when she whips out God for some reason to connect what happened in the episode to religion. Similar to a lot of episodes of VeggieTales, it isn't overtly religious for the entire time until the final hurrah.
Blake, when we discover who we are is when we really become a star.
After you, it's a lesson tried and true. Let the love that's in your heart come shining through. Simply try it and you'll see how delightful life can be. After me, no, after we, no, after
You know, it's okay to strive to be number one at whatever you do. I worked very hard to be a gymnast. But God says the real number ones are the ones who love Him and put others first. Can you think of others who serve you by putting you first sometimes? People like your parents, your teachers, firemen, policemen, they serve us all, don't they? Well, today, God showed us, well, through our good friend Jumpy, that putting others first is way more important than putting ourselves first. So instead of saying me first, I want you to remember to say you first.
Honestly, it doesn't really feel like it's shoving any sort of belief in your face until the last minute or so, but you kinda get the vibe throughout. I find that acceptable enough, but I'm still not a huge fan of the whole religion angle to teach kids lessons. There's an especially funky episode where there is a blind character who Mary Lou says God has allowed to see things through his heart since he can't see through his eyes.
And that's good, because you see, God makes us each with a perfect, unique design. Now, my friend LZ was made to shed his hair every year, and that's okay, because God replaces it with beautiful, shiny new fur. My new friend Andrew, he can't see out of his eyes, but God helps him to see things with his heart, things that the rest of us can't see. So you see, friends like LZ and Andrew, they teach us things that we would never learn without them. We are truly wonderfully made, aren't we? And I am so glad that you made your way to the flip-flop shop, because everyone is always welcome here. Whoa! Well, it looks like we're out of...
Hi, it's just me. I'm just editing this right now, but I just have to say, who thought it was a good idea to compare a giant, like, humanoid mascot dog creature to a blind wheelchair-bound child? Who thought that those two things could even go together in a sentence? Who wrote this? Who was like, yep, that's a good idea. Make it make sense, because I don't think that's a good comparison to say that God makes everyone different and unique. This animal thing sheds its fur, and then this child is blind. Anyways, back to the video. This made me feel a bit weird. Now, I would also like to say one of my favorite childhood puppet shows was a Christian-based show called Kingdom Adventure, but it never actually mentioned God. It was kind of implied, and you could make that connection if you were really seeking it, but yeah, it wasn't noticeable to non-religious people watching. But anywho, watching Mary Lou's Flip-Flop Shop as a grown-up, I was fairly entertained. However, sometimes I do judge my own taste, as I have enjoyed watching such terrible shows as Peppermint Park. So if you want to give this show a watch, be prepared for colors, songs, eccentric side characters, horrifying CGI, and surprise God. It really does scream early 2000s live-action preschool show, and I think that's exactly what it was going for. I'm not sure if the show is still airing on Christian children's television networks, but I think it might as well. Although it's 20 years old, I think it's a good show for younger people growing up in religious households. For those who aren't, though, I'd recommend watching The Big Comfy Couch instead. In conclusion, Mary Lou's Flip-Flop Shop is a bit of a funky religious show that teaches children valuable skills to learn to deal with self-esteem, friends, feelings, and more important obstacles you may face as you grow up. However, with nothing too notable or unique in its presentation, I think it makes sense how this early 2000s television show became a piece of obscure puppet media. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.
At the flip-flop shop where north is south, and you can make funny faces. Make funny faces. Where south is north and north is south, you can make funny faces with your eyes and mouth.
We're gonna flop right here.